we have New England native, the Irish hand grenade, Marcus Davis, on the phone right here. Hello, Marcus.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, we're doing good, Marcus. Thanks so much for calling in to us tonight.
Yeah, sorry about would have been in here earlier, but as people know, I live in Maine, and I don't have any cell towers out here, so I rely on everything that I've got out here, my home phone, my cell phone. I have one of those brand new Galaxy S's that you can call off the internet. So my cell phone, calls off the internet, my home phone, and then we lost the internet here. And it still, I think, is bouncing in and out or something's going on. But anyways, I'm here now.
No problem, Marcus. We're glad to hear from you no matter what time you call in. Let me ask you first. You got one of the most distinctive nicknames out there, the Irish hand grenade. Where did that come from?
In 1993, when I was based out of Boston, Massachusetts, and I was a professional boxer, there was an elderly man that used to come in and watch me spar all the time. And at that time, my sparring partners were, Mickey Ward, Dangerous Dana Rosenblatt, some pretty tough guys. And so I was in there sparring with those guys all the time. And every time he would come in, he would be yelling out, "It's the Irish hand grenade! It's the Irish hand grenade!" So one day, I just came out and I said, "Well, why do you keep calling me that?" And he said that there was a guy that he knew back in the 40s and 50s that could be my twin brother, and he said, "You guys fight alike, you look alike," and I was like, "Oh, okay," it was no big deal. But my manager heard us talking about it, and then my next fight, I got announced as the Irish hand grenade, and I said to my manager, I said, "Yeah, they announced me as the Irish hand grenade," because at that time, because I was from Bangor, they used to call me Marcus Bang Bang Davis from Bangor, Maine, which I thought was stupid too. But anyways, they announced me as the Irish hand grenade. My manager said, "Hey, I liked it. I thought we'd run with it," and it's been that ever since then.
Awesome. Marcus, since leaving the UFC, you've been competing in the Maximum Fighting Championship company. You've won your first two fights there, most recently defeating Pete Spratt in what was an actual rematch from UFC 69. You beat him via decision, and that was just last weekend. Were you pleased with your performance, or do you felt you should have been able to finish that fight?
Well, I've already, I've watched the fight several times, and I've already almost filled the notebook with stuff that I didn't like. Obviously, it's hard to kind of like, if you watch that fight, you'll see I never threw one left kick, and that's one of the things that I've started to become known for is I throw that left body kick a lot, or I throw that left kick a lot. It's the one that I, dropped Chris Lytle with and threw a ton, and there's some good pictures of me, busting people up with that left kick. Well, I had broke a piece of my shin off about 10 days before that fight. So that's why I never threw a left kick. So instead, I just tried to use that left knee a lot. I think that if I could have been able to use that left kick more and had that confidence, I could have tried to maybe push to have the fight, try to finish the fight. I think that, at this point in my career, what's unfortunate is that I have to win fights.
Mm-hmm.
It's before, when I was in the UFC, I thought I was going to be able to keep my job by just keep winning, fight of the night bonuses and all those, I can't remember how many I've had, but I think like 9 bonuses.
Wow.
I thought, in 15 appearances, I thought that would at least keep me alive and keep my job. I didn't think that, for me in particular, my style of fighting, I think it was just about going out entertaining, but I was wrong. So, so now I got to go out there. I got to win a bunch of fights, and I'm not going to play it safe. I mean, I still got in there and tried to take opportunity with Pete, but I do have to go out there and I got to win some fights first.
So what's next for you as it stands, Marcus? Is there any fights currently scheduled for you?
Well, that was the last fight on my contract with NFC. We obviously have had, other offers and stuff, but we're going to wait until this week coming up to renegotiate with the MFC and see what we can work out. Because I know that there's a couple of fights that they've already kind of mentioned that they'd like to see me do. One was that they'd mentioned something about fighting Terry Martin at 170. But my career now, I think, should be at 155, and that's where I was going to be for this fight. And I was going to fight Richie Whitson, but he broke his foot. So they told me the only fight I had open to me was the Pete Spratt fight. So I took it because I didn't want to wait again until September, because that's their next show. So, and that's the latest that I want to wait to fight again. I don't like being held back, and I like to fight actively, because the longer I have of a layoff, the rustier I get, and I'm one of those guys that's very goal-oriented. So I've got to have, short-term, long-term type goals. So I want to fight by September at the latest.
I hear you. You mentioned there the weight that you're comfortable at 155. Interesting. You actually competed as a boxer up to 200 pounds, but you settled in as a 155 pounder in the world of MMA. Why did you feel it was so much more beneficial to fight at a lighter weight in mixed martial arts?
Well, I turned pro and I fought, my first, I can't remember what it was, but it was quite a few of my beginning fights. I had fights as low as 137 pounds as a professional boxer. Mm-hmm. And the majority of my boxing was done at 152, which would be junior middleweight. And then when I first started doing MMA, I fought at 205 for a few fights. But I have no reach. That's my biggest problem right now, is that I've never fought anybody that's had either an equal reach or less reach than me. Everybody I've ever fought, their reach has been longer, even if I've been taller. I mean, I'm taller than Paul Kelly. I'm taller than even Pete Spratt. I'm taller than Stevenson. And they've all had longer reach than me. So I got these midgety arms. And, it kind of evened things out when I go to 55. I mean, granted, still, I'd say probably 60-70% of the 55ers still have a longer reach than me. But as I said, at 70, 100% has had a longer reach than me.
Wow.
So there's never been a time that I've had that reach. So 55, and then I think I'm just a lot stronger than most guys at 55 also. Even though, I don't, I'm not a weightlifter anymore. I'm not lifting weights, and, I've kind of thrown the weights aside. But, I mean, people that have trained with me, George Gurgel, all those guys that would tell you that even at 170 pounds, I used to work out with 405 on the bench.
Wow.
I would do 405 for 5-6 repetitions at 170 pounds.
Holy smoke.
And yeah, even in a competition, just for fun, I jumped into a weightlifting competition here for the state of Maine, and at 168 pounds, I benched 370, and that was a competition lift.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was a long time ago. But so, I mean, not that weightlifting really transcends so much into fight strength, but still, at 155 pounds, I think that, I'm relatively stronger than most people I face. Both, opponents that I've had at 55 have all said that I've been the strongest guy they've ever, even Curtis DeMars, had told me, right after the fight, and then mentioned it again in this last fight because he was on the card, said, I still haven't met anybody as strong as you at 155 pounds. So
that's awesome.
It's an advantage.
Wow, Marcus, let me ask you before we let you go. Looking back at your UFC career, is there any one fight or one moment that you're most proud of? Something that you would consider the highlight of your UFC career?
Well, I mean, the fight that people talk about the most is the Paul Taylor, because I got kicked in the neck and got back up, and then it was all done in one round. You know, we were just brawling, and then I get taken a neck kick, and then I get back up and I take him down, I submit him. So I hear that one the most from people. For me, the big thing for me would be, you know, obviously the Lytle fight, just because number one, it was in Dublin. Number two, it was Chris Lytle, and number three, you know, the night before the fight, I was in my hotel room, and we had a doctor in there and EMTs, and they weren't even going to let me fight. I had the flu so bad that I never even cut weight. I just sat in that hotel room for a week, and then walked down there, got on the scales, made weight, because I had it coming out of every end of me, out of my mouth and out of my rear.
We've all had nights like that.
Yeah. So, you know, and then I went right back to bed, and Delagrati brought the doctors and the EMTs, and they wanted, you know, we were trying to get a IV to maybe flush it or something, and the doctor said, you know, if he needs an IV, he can't fight, you know, if he's that sick, and, you know. So anyways, through Delagrati's powerful magic, we were still able to, you know, wing it, and we got the IV that we needed, and, you know, the next day, you know, I got to go, I got to fight, I got to win, and Mark Delagrati had said to me, we were in the locker room, and we were both crying like we were like little babies, because we couldn't believe it happened, that I actually was able to make it through it and not croak. And Mark had said, you know, I truly felt like I was walking somebody to the electric chair or something, you know, to an executioner. He goes, I did not think that you were going to make it past even one round, because I was so sick.
Wow.
So it's kind of a big deal, and that, you know, meant a lot to me.
Awesome. Well, Marcus, we were out of time now, but thank you so much for, you know, keep trying to get into us tonight, and we appreciate you calling into us, and we love the hometown guys here, the Irish Hand Grenade, Marcus Davis. So thank you so much for calling into the KO Radio Show tonight.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Have a good night, guys.
Take care,
All right,
Marcus.
thanks, Marcus.
Ciao, Marcus.